Good morning, my wonderful friends. I'm telling you, we are going to have a blast. This is going to be the most fun I think I've ever had. We're going to do a mock trial. Now, here's what happened. This kid gets a hold of me. He's a lawyer, a law student. And he says, I've been following you for years. And we got a problem with academia. I said, well, I know we got a problem with academia. There's nothing I can do about it. He said, well, yes, there is. I said, no, there isn't. He says, well, let's find out if there is or not. So he starts throwing all these legal terms at me. And I said, well, I understand some of them. He says, we got to do a mock trial. So at first I'm thinking, what the hell? I know what a mock trial is, sort of just playing games, but they actually do this. I didn't realize this. There's two different types. There's the mock trial. It simulates lower court trials. I guess that's what we're going to do, or I don't know. Then you got a moot court. Simulates appellate court hearings where they make an appeal to say, no, these guys were wrong. Let's relook at this. I guess. I'm sort of learning, but this is going to be fun because I love this kind of stuff. And really, I do have grievances against academia, absolutely. So let's mock and trial this whole thing. All right. And by the way, my young lawyer friend, you're going to have a hard time, buddy. But I guess you're just going to have to be on that side that pushes for reality, I guess. Because if you're going to have a hard time, I can tell you that right now, as far as I could see. But anyway, I applaud anyone that looks for truth. Okay, when I say that I started my own university, all it is YouTube, and it's free. There's no charge, and all it is a discussion about what the evidence supports. Things like this. You ever see that before? Academia tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. They never address the things that they can't address. You ever see about the fish and the dragon? Well, the fish and the dragon is very, very real. And there it is right there. There's the giant fish. You have Google Earth. It's in Africa. That's the giant fish. And this right here is the giant dragon. That's his head. And the body runs all the way down here. That's his neck, runs all the way down. All the way down, and that's his body. And this is his tail. And you can see the blood, or whatever, the bodily fluids running out of the tail back here. All right? That's dragon scales. They don't just form like that for no reason at all. Right, that's dragon scales, and that is a giant dragon, and it's spitting that stuff out right there onto the fish, and it's damaged its back. Now, like I say, you have Google Earth. I'm not going to belabor this, but if you can't see what you see, then that's up to you. But if you follow the throat right down here, and you just follow it down, you'll actually see where the throat was sliced. Now these are all dragon scales. Now, try to be realistic with yourself. All right, what do you literally see? Not what do you want to say, oh, those are just hills and valleys. No, they're not. They're dragon scales, and this is a dragon's throat. And that dragon's throat and these scales run all the way down and down and down, and that's where he would have ate, and everything he would have eaten would have gone down there, except somebody with a great and mighty sword slashed that throat. And that's where all that blood ran out in the desert. I fully understand blood and decomposition and exactly what I am seeing. Now, you see what you see, that's fine. But when this could very easily relate to your eternity, to just ignore this and to not allow it to be seen, I don't think that's right. So, let's see what this kid can do. Maybe he can make this all right. Who knows? I can't seem to get anywhere. All right, so here we go. Okay, so getting along with our mock trial, what would we start to consider? We would consider the breach of fiduciary obligation, which is to act in the best interest of the students. Are they doing that? Let's determine that. Now, and that would be a civil lawsuit, but it can also, which means you don't go to jail. It will not result in jail time for a breach of fiduciary duty. But in some cases, the same action constitutes a fiduciary failure, which is highly financial. There's a lot of financial compensation awarded to that. In addition, you could have crimes. You could find yourself fighting multiple legal battles, which is going to be the case if this kid's right, because the next thing he came up with is extortion. It's a shakedown. If they don't pay them for that piece of paper that says they are educated and they now agree to every word that they told them, and they agree that the professor is the smart guy, and we now know what he told us, so we are now smart. If you don't do all that stuff, you don't get your piece of paper. So that could be extortion. And then it's all intimidation, racketeering. I mean, he was throwing all kinds, because a racket consists of, anybody it's normally by the mob used to do this, but you would feel intimidated. You would be intimidated, and then that's intimidation. It means it would cause a person of ordinary sensibilities to fear injury or harm. They're going to crush you. They're going to destroy you. They're going to fail you in life. I mean, he was going on and on with all kinds of stuff. Okay, by the way, I did start my own university called Mudfossil, all one word, University. It's Mudfossil University. Now, I had Helix Biolab, very, very, very qualified, accomplished PhD, did the PCR analysis 5 years ago. And it took a couple of months. It wasn't a short process, and it wasn't cheap, and it was 3 samples I had done, and they all came back as human mitochondrial DNA. And I have actual discussions with Tom, who is the lab director, and about it, and he was 100% certain that there was no contamination and that the results showed exactly what we're showing here. Homo sapien mitochondrial. Now, the specimens I took them from, I mean, they were anatomically 100% certain. Now, I had them checked by one of the world-famous anatomist, Gil Hedley, who is an autopsy anatomist, teaches all around the world, and obviously, I mean, I can't imagine even a first-year student or even anybody who picks up a biology book can't understand that's a lung. That's what's called the pleura, the fascia. It's the coating of the lung. This is the lung right here. All right, now see this flat? You see how flat that is? They're all basically flat like this because this was from the Great Flood that they talked about. And this is what the pushback, I think, is from academia. Anyway, that's what we're going to find out. Is it because of their opinions about our past history and they don't like God? I know they don't like God as far as I can determine. Because the first thing that came out of almost every one of them is, were you some kind of creationist or were you some kind of Bible thumper? Well, no, I'm a reality thumper. That's lungs. That's the little alveoli of the lungs. What is this? Exact same thing. Blood gushed out of here when I took these out of the ground. It's identical. Identical. And here's what came out of them, out of that one on the left there. Another one that I sent off for analysis was this one. And then I also did this giant fingertip. It's a giant human fingertip. And there's no question about it. That was CAT scanned, DNA tested, everything, and that's where the ligaments invest on the side. All of the bone shifts off to the side a little bit, but you can see all of the different pad and all of the different fibers in the microscopy, and that right there is what they call the apical tuft. I have another one around here from a more eroded fingertip. You get anybody that's an anatomist. Gil Hedley knows what this is, and this is exactly what it is. And it was CAT scan, DNA tested. There's no question about this stuff. So what is their obligation here? How do I enter this into evidence? I need some students, that really want to engage in reality and start the world converting back to looking for truth, which is now seems to be not really what's working now that I can see. Now, don't forget, there's all kinds of giants and different species they talked about in the biblical text, in the religious text, that academia has, as far as I'm concerned, that is a sore spot in academia. They will never allow you to talk about religion because it's just thought to be silly. Well, I'm presenting things that show that the things that they talked about, giants, and dragons too. I showed the dragons. I'll show you in a second. Are not silly. They're true. They're real. And the text reported on those and spoke of those. Now, what's their obligation there? There's a lot of things to discuss here. You know, the more I start engaging with this line of thinking, how wrong this is. It just keeps getting wronger and wronger and wronger. You know, and that's why I try to stay away from running down this road, because it just leads to being, you know, frustration. I mean, there's nobody seems to care. You can't seem to get through. Well, I can't get through to anybody. Nobody ever returns my emails. Virtually never. Because when I present them with evidence like this, and then they see there's nothing they can say, and they just don't say anything. How does the truth start? How does it get started? I mean, I think this kid's onto something. A mock trial is going to be kind of interesting, and I need some input. I want, you know, there's got to be law students or somebody, legal people that want to engage in this. You know, this is reality. This isn't just some joke, you know, cartoon. The more I'm starting to feel deeper into this, I'm starting to get a little more enthused that maybe something could happen. Because I just literally gave up, and I just said, I'm just going to put up videos and watch, you know, all kind of different shows on TV and just live my life. Because there's no way I can affect anything. But maybe I can affect something. Maybe this kid can affect something. That's what we need, some kids that'll stand up. Once they get you under their thumb, you're done. It's all over. Now this guy, he's going to have trouble if he speaks up. I know he will. Will this be allowed? I have so much evidence that cannot be overcome. It's absolutely, there's nothing they can say about that. They can't say that's not a bone. As soon as it's allowed to be seen, it's over. It's over for them. And then, you know, I understand the conversions, I understand nucleophilic invasion, I understand every type of bit of the chemistry. I had to go through everything to prove my case, and I have proven it in spades. So let's get on with the mock trial. Okay, here it is, how a mock trial works, and they're going to actually do it. And this is about constitutional rights. So this is Constitutional Rights Foundation. Now here they go. Let's see how we can do this. Here we go. All right, all these kids are coming in to try to learn how the real world works.
8,000 students from across the state participate in the Constitutional Rights Foundation's mock trial program. And this program is an academic competition that takes place at the county, state, and national levels.
I think this is probably the best training that someone outside of being in law school could have to get a real sense of what a lawyer does inside the courtroom. This is what we do.
Students play the cast of courtroom characters, including attorneys, witnesses, clerks, and bailiffs.
Okay, I want to make a statement now, is that I need some, people to come against me. Because you know where I'm coming from. I'm saying that mainstream science is not really doing their duty that I can see. And I would like to present that case, and I need somebody to fight against me. You know, just obey the same thing that they do every day in court. So I'm looking into what are the different obligations, how does it normally flow, how does it work. I just want to do it like they would, a mock trial. So I'm not sure we need to watch this whole thing. Let me see if I can cut to some salient points. Hold on. Okay, so this is the mock trial. They actually have an American Mock Trial Association since 1985. And sounds like it's going to be a blast. They have tournaments and all kinds of stuff. These are the tournament results all over the country. So this is going to be very interesting. I think this is going to be kind of illustrative, illuminating, let's say.